Don't let the government be your daddy. You are self-governed.
Yes, sir!
Access granted.
Hey, what's up? It's Rick Dees in the morning. Right now, Vendog.
Going live from a 35,000-foot view with Captain America for Jesus himself. Vendog Radio.
Well, welcome to Tuesday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you can tell, we are 10,000% live. If you are on YouTube, please do like, share, subscribe right now. If you are on Getter, Gettr, thank you to Jason Miller and the entire Getter front office crew over there. They always bless us and put us on the front page at Getter, and they make us the editor's pick, and they just did it this month. Thank you guys over at Getter for doing that. If you're on X, formerly known as Twitter, please put the repost out, share it, and put in the troposphere. And also, if you are on Rumble, yes, if you are on the infamous Rumble, yes, please hit the repost and share. This is going to be a great episode today. And immediately following, it will relay to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and wherever you shall download, broadcast, and podcast. And my friends, as you can tell, I am not wearing the cool yellow shirt, but my brother John Holler is.
Yeah, I was afraid people might mistake me for you.
Hey, which is easy to do.
That's right. I mean, how often do you get two good-looking guys in the same YouTube space at the same time?
Exactly. So, John, we were just talking offline about and unlimited things that we could talk about, especially the goings-ons in the Middle East.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know how to describe everything. I'm not a happy camper. I know that there's a lot of people out there trying to spin what Trump is doing, but I don't see it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, his peace plan. I told everybody that's not going to work out because Hamas is already going to say no.
Well, I think they are. I mean, they're already starting to back off. And of course, all the Arabs are also starting to say, well, we might be able to, we need to tighten things up a little bit. But this is the way Arabs negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
This is not racist.
Mm-mm.
But when you're in an Arab culture, everything is it seems like everything's a negotiation. And even when you walk out the door at a store with something, you're not sure that you're not going to get more demands to pay more. I remember one time, many years ago, I was walking through the old city of Jerusalem. And as you know, I'm a pretty big guy. And that seems to be, I guess, a sign of success in Arab culture, at least in Jerusalem. And you try not to make eye contact with the shop owners. And so I'm walking down through the old city, through the Arab quarter, and I accidentally made eye contact with a merchant. And he looked right at me and goes, "Hello there, big man. You must be very successful. Come let me sell you many things." And he literally was almost chasing me down the street. So, because he thought because I was a big guy that I must have a lot of money to eat everything in sight or something.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, but the point is that in the Arab culture, there's not really a word for a concession or an agreement or a finality. And so what we're seeing this. I think we're seeing the living embodiment of the Islamic doctrine of hudna. A hudna is where you're weak, your enemy is strong, and so you make peace with them until you can build up your forces and strengthen yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So Israel's had an incredible year, the last year and a half. They've really done a lot. Some of it a little bit with the United States help. There's no doubt about that. But, they started off on October 7th, and they were soon fighting a 7-front war.
Mm-hmm.
They've been pretty successful on all of those fronts. There was actually an 8th front that they're trying to deal with now, which is the information war. You could call, I guess you could call it propaganda war that's being waged against them. And so in the public space, this information war is a really, really big deal right now. I mean, I think even in the letter that got released yesterday that Charlie Kirk had sent to Benjamin Netanyahu back in May, he was sort of saying, man, this is a big problem. We've got to do a lot of things to fix this problem. What can we do? And he said, we need help. You guys aren't doing your job. Now, I don't know that, I'm not sure I agree with that, because the onslaught of anti-Israel, anti-Jew propaganda hatred is unbelievable.
It's on steroids.
My X feed is a flash flood of sewage about Israel every day. And the other day, Elon Musk posted, he said, "Hey, how you liking the new algorithm?" And I'm like, I noticed a change for about an hour. It seemed okay. It seemed like a normal world. And now it's reverted back. And I don't like any of these crazy, I don't like these posts, I just kind of read them a little bit. And it's, hang on a second here. My phone was going off.
Telemarketers.
I think, I wish there was like a way that you could charge them for calling you with this.
That would be great.
I would be retired. I wouldn't even have to ever fantasize about buying a lottery ticket to make millions. I would already have it. I bet I get 20 to 40 calls a day on my cell phone. I don't know about you.
Yes.
But it's relentless. And it's usually the same thing. They want to buy my house or any other house I know about. They want to sell me Medicare benefits that I don't qualify for. And then they want to sell me something for final expenses, like a small life insurance policy to pay for my funeral.
Oh, wow.
And there's other things too, but it's probably those three are the most relentless ones.
Yeah.
And if I could figure out a way to call them, or to reach through the phone and just slap them, I would do that, because and it would be justified. There would be nothing wrong with doing that, because it's okay, right? It's okay to slap a telemarketer.
Yeah, I think that's it's actually should be put into law that we should be allowed to do that.
And I think the common law would recognize that as something pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we're in the midst of this massive propaganda war, and I think it's only going to get worse.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, this is a piece from Trump and Netanyahu.
But if Hamas rejects your plan, Mr. President, or if they supposedly accept it and then basically do everything to counter it, then Israel will finish the job by itself.
Able to do so, then Israel would have the absolute right and actually our full backing, the U.S. full backing. Marco's here, and a lot of our leaders are here, our great vice president. So Israel would have my full backing to finish the job of destroying the threat of Hamas.
Now, let me ask you this. They went into this press conference yesterday. Do you think they already know that there's going to be pushback on this so-called peace plan, but they just wanted to, make it theater?
I suppose that's possible. It's very interesting. I was just talking to a friend in Israel this morning about this, because there's a meme or there's a theory that circulates a lot. I mean, I posted, a friend of mine was hosting a webinar today with an incredibly intelligent guy and some others, but the main guy to me was Dumasani Washington. He's a big Israel supporter, very articulate, very clear on Tucker Carlson. And that was part of what the thing was about was, how do we respond to Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, or as we should probably call them, Tucker Carlson and
Mhm.
Propagandist Owens.
Yes. I like the first nickname you gave her, Irandis.
Yeah, Irandis. Yeah, Irandis the Propagandist or something like that.
Yes.
And so the question was, how do we respond to these? And I posted it on my Facebook page. I'm tired of having to do this. People cannot contain themselves. They think and I'm like, if you want to post that garbage, go on your own Facebook page and post it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you only post it on my page, maybe because you think you'll get more engagement or more people will see you. And a lot of times I'll delete the comments. That usually leads to, oh, you're in the censorship, huh? No, I'm actually exercising grace because I don't want you to embarrass yourself with the stupid comment that you made.
Exactly.
And but they never accept that. But the problem is that in this, so there's a theory that goes around, is that the Israeli government intentionally allowed Hamas to come across the border, slaughter, rape, cut up, shoot, kill, burn, bomb, whatever you want to call it, stab Israelis along the border. And by the way, they weren't just Jewish Israelis, they were Israelis, some Arab, some of other cultures like Thai that work there in Israel. And the theory is Israel government intentionally allowed that to happen so they could go after the Hamas. And I think and I will tell you, I've passed this theory past a large number of friends in Israel, and by the way, some of them cannot stand Benjamin Netanyahu. They really detest the guy. And they say this theory is just illogical garbage.
Oh, wow.
But people post it like it's, it's a false flag and all this other stuff. And
right.
so my question is, I always try to change the conversation a little bit by asking this question. So let's say you're the Israeli government. It's October 6th, and you have a very good inkling that in the next 24 hours, literally all hell is going to break loose across the Gaza border.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? And the answer really is you would probably do what they've done. But can you imagine the outcry that if they had done before October 7th, they had done what they've done since? The negative Israel press, the feeling and everything would be even worse. And so I don't understand why people think, and they never, by the way, when you ask them that question, they say, well, Netanyahu, they did 9/11 or something. It's just some ridiculous non sequitur that doesn't mean anything. And so I want a serious discussion. If you're so smart, okay, you knew this was going to happen. By the way, not a single one of these people was writing that this was going to happen before October 7th. Not a single person on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And look, mistakes were made. I think the big mistake was made that if Hamas was allowed to be in charge, they would build a Arab Riviera on the Mediterranean. And what did they do? I mean, I saw a great meme the other day. It said, under Jerusalem, 3,000 years of Jewish history. Under Gaza, 300 miles. Trump and Netanyahu have been saying 400 miles, so I'll go with the 400 miles. 400 miles of terror tunnels. And it's a completely different mindset. And so, yeah, Israel did allow money to be transferred to them. There's some tax revenues that need to be transferred to them. They've been withholding those for a while now. And I think that's well within their rights. They're at war. And nobody wants to talk about what happened on October 7th and what was planned. And to be honest with you, the almost 18, 17, 16-year history of rocket attacks from Gaza on Israel. It's been a constant assault on them. I saw an interview. It's on the Free Press. That's Barry Weiss's organization. I think she's going to be doing CBS News or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and she's kind of liberal in a way. I mean, she lives with her quote partner.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah, but she's kind of conservative and mainstream on a lot of her things. So she had a guy on today, and he told a story. Listen to this. So there was a young girl in Gaza, and she poured boiling water over herself and was severely burned.
Ouch.
She was like 5 or 6 years old. They took her to Israel. They treated her free of charge. They nursed her back to health. And she then, I think she even came across the border. She had a pass and she got a college education free. When one of the intifadas broke out, she was convinced by the Hamas leadership to become a suicide bomber. She went to
Wow.
Israel to a checkpoint, and she had 3 options. You can attack a police station, you could do a suicide bombing at a school, or you could do a suicide bombing at the hospital that treated you. Which one do you think that she chose? The hospital that treated her, that saved her life, that nursed her back to health. So she gets stopped at the checkpoint and she tries to detonate the bomb, and it doesn't work. It's a dud. So the Israeli soldier, she gets arrested. She gets hurt in the arrest. She's then taken to the hospital, nursed back to health. In one of these prisoner exchanges, she gets released back to Gaza. So the guy who was doing the interview with Barry Weiss said, I went into Gaza and I thought it would be a great human interest story to interview her because obviously she's probably seen the error of her ways. The guy interviewed her and he was absolutely shocked. Are you sorry for what you did? I'm sorry that I was not successful and became a glorious martyr. I would do it again if I had the chance and the means to do it.
Wow.
And so that's the mindset that Israel is facing. And I don't know, you can tell all those stories all the day long, and people like Tucker and Candace will never accept them. They'll say that you're lying, that you're making it up. But the stories like this are, it'd be very hard to not find a person that would say this in Gaza. And that's the problem. So how do you negotiate with them? How do you achieve a peace with them? And I'm just not sure that there's a simple answer to that.
I don't even think it's possible.
No, I don't think it is either.
Wow. Absolutely incriminating. And I don't know. I just think that, it's just like a waste of time just to talk about it because I don't think it's not going to happen whatsoever right now.
It's theoretically possible. I don't like the way that it's done. I don't think that I would be running around saying that this is Trump and Netanyahu playing 4D or 5D chess. I don't buy that. It never works. Listen, I've studied this for a long time. I've read the plans. I've read what the UN says. I've read their plans, the New York Declaration, the resolution after resolution after resolution. By the way, I saw a stat the other day, anti fill in the name of the country resolutions. There might be one country that has 20. Israel's like a couple hundred or more. It's a constant thing that they do. So I'm just not sure that this is a wise move, what I saw Trump doing yesterday. And I personally think that a guy named Jared Kushner, his fingers are all over this.
Oh, his tentacles are all in it.
I mean, he was front and center at the meeting yesterday. He was in the meeting beforehand with Witkoff and Trump. Now the news is coming out, by the way, that Witkoff's son is in deals with people in Qatar making money. And I think that's a very, very bad look. You know, how many times do you repeat this over and over again and not say enough is enough?
Wow, this is getting wilder than I thought. I just don't think there's going to be any resolution whatsoever. I think the only way that Israel is going to have to achieve that peace and safety that they're going to be looking for is that they're just going to have to eliminate the whole Gaza area.
Yeah, I think that that's the case. So look, I know there's friends in the Bible prophecy community that will disagree with me on this. Their belief is that an Ezekiel 38 war comes along and Islam is no longer to be worried about. And my point is, I do not see that being resolved until Jesus returns.
Very true.
So and look, it's nice to have that. I think it's a fantasy. I don't think it's supported. I don't think it's scriptural. Part of it depends on the timing of the Ezekiel 38 war, but then again, it goes into logistics. So how many times have Muslims lost a war in history and lost badly? I mean, what did we do to them in 91 in Iraq?
Obliterated them.
Right. Has that changed anything? Iraq
No,
is
they
still
just
a mess.
continue to grow.
Right. And by the way, a lot of people could make the case that arising out of that intervention in Iraq is that we ended up with ISIS and other things. And so I just don't see Ezekiel 38, 39 resolving that problem except for the immediate participants.
Yeah. There's a lot to be unfolded.
It is a difficult issue. So if you want, we could go through some of the parts of the plan that was discussed at the White House yesterday.
Yeah.
And then I think there are the Qataris are coming out. We need to nail down some things about Israel because we don't trust them. This thing is just biased in favor of Israel. Well, I would say this. It probably is biased in favor of Israel, if for no other reason than they're winning. This is what happens when you lose wars, when you take on a fight that you can't win. So I think that we need to look at that.
Yeah, we sure do. And you know what else we need to look at? Because this is here in the United States of America and people are in shock. That is on the streets of Manhattan, John.
Crazy. So, wow, man, I'll tell you.
That's New York right now.
Well, and they're going to I was talking to somebody about this today. I guess I did a program with Olivier Melnick. And we're less than 2 months away from this guy becoming elected the mayor of New York.
Right.
I mean, really, what's up with that?
Wow.
So, hang on.
Wow.
My one monitor went out for some reason.
And then Bernie Sanders is like rubbing elbows with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing is insane, and he's probably going to win. And it's less than 2 months away, if I have my calendar correct.
Boy, I tell you, real estate in Israel must be at an all-time high right now.
Well, it's only going to get worse. I mean, So I was last there in December 2022. And one thing that I was shocked at was the number of giant construction cranes. Like when you stand on the Mount of Olives and look over Jerusalem, or even in one section of Jerusalem, you'll count 30, 40 giant construction cranes. And the construction is everywhere. And by the way, if more Jews decide to return to Israel, it's only going to get, the housing situation is only going to get worse. So it's going to be a big important market for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, John, and I keep telling people, I says, have you noticed that it's not going to be safe to be a Jewish person in the United States of America really quick here?
I don't think that that's going to happen.
But look at this. This is in Philadelphia. This is this is happening on American soil. I mean, look at Dearborn, Michigan. They're all the way gone.
Well, I was in Dallas last weekend for a conference with Tom Hughes, LeVay Melnick, and some other guys in Rockwall, Texas.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
I had some meetings with people. I don't know if I should go into it too much. One is a guy who's writing a book about a certain religion. And people were telling me about how in certain sections of Dallas, around the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, and even down in Houston, they're taking entire areas over this certain religion. They're building giant mosques. Security experts say the mosques are built in such a way that they look like they're designed to withstand an assault by SWAT teams. They're like a fortress. We don't know what's stored in these places, by the way. And if we think that, I hear all the mega media and the people on the right, oh, Israel's dragging us into the war. You ought to be grateful that Israel's fighting the war over there so that it doesn't come here, because it's coming here. I have many friends in the UK. I speak to them almost every day of the week. They are in severe distress about what's going on in the UK. The infiltration of Islam. And I don't know, I tell the story a lot. And so if I've told it on your program, just tell me to move on, and I won't. But I went and spoke at a conference there back in 2018. After the conference was over, we spent about 5 nights in London.
Okay.
We had been the year before, we had been in Israel. And when we were in Israel, we went through the area called the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, extensively. We went into Nablus. We went to other cities, other Arab, exclusively Arab cities. And I will tell you that in Nablus, in London, in central London, 4 blocks from Hyde Park, on the other side of Hyde Park from where we were staying, is a little house called Buckingham Palace, where at the time Queen Elizabeth lived. I saw more burqas in central London than I did in Nablus, a Palestinian Hamas hotbed in the West Bank in Samaria. And I mean, I'm telling you, it was shot, and I'm talking full burqa type stuff. You might be able to see their eyes.
Wow.
And I didn't really even see that in the West Bank, in Nablus, where we spent some time.
Yikes.
So
you and I
that's London. That's central London.
Yeah. And you and I have spoken with Gary McKibben, and he just says it's just really out of control over there.
Yeah, I think I did an interview with him last week.
Yep, it was last week. It was last week. Yep.
Great guy.
Yeah, it seems like it's incredibly insane over there.
Maybe I'll get invited over there to speak. I've got my golf bag ready to go. Not that I would go for that purpose only, of course, but it's just it's sort of the fringe benefit.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah,
forget your digital ID will be required.
Yes, you're going to have a digital ID in the UK. I think I've told you, I don't know if I told you the story either. I went to Scotland a couple of years ago, and I was going to play golf in the morning. I went over to a big store. It's like a Walmart in a town called Tain up in the north in the Highlands.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to buy some water. So I go in and I buy some stuff and I check out. And as I'm checking out, I'm using an American Express Gold card and I have to get approval, but it takes my picture as I'm standing there at the checkout, self checkout.
Wow.
The guy comes over, approves the transaction, and I leave. And then I remember, oh, you idiot. You know, this is how old people get exercises, by going back to get the things they forget. So I forgot my water. That's the reason I went to the store in the first place. So I go back and get the water. And as I'm walking up to the checkout, my picture pops up on the screen. Before I scanned anything, I was already recognized in the system. And as you're driving down from Inverness down to a town called Stirling, beautiful drive. It's it's sort of in the region of where Balmoral Castle is, and a big national park, Cairngorms National Park in Scotland. Absolutely stunning scenery. There are cameras everywhere on the road, speed cameras,
Wow.
average speed cameras. I don't even know, so every day somebody go by me at 120 and then I'd catch up to them. They're doing 40 because they figured out that that's how they beat the average speed system.
Right.
And so I'm just telling you is that there were cameras everywhere.
Wow.
And now I'm sure they have facial ID and facial recognition and digital ID. I think there's no way that I don't see how this is stopped at this point. And by the way, I'm doing a technocracy
Isn't that tomorrow?
roundtable. Yeah, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Fellowship Bible Chapel YouTube channel, on my X and I think Telegram accounts. And I also think it will be Rich Gillette usually streams it onto his channel as well. So join us. We'll try to answer your questions. Somebody asked me some questions like, well, what are we going to talk about? I think it was Scott Townsend. And I just said, well, here's an outline. Then I read through the outline and it's like, we don't have enough time to talk about all that, but is there something you'd like to talk about too? Because it's just things on the technology space that kind of pop into my head, or an article that I'll read or something like that. And this digital computer tech juggernaut, it's not leaving. In fact, I'll do a little teaser right here. Let me just see if I can find it.
Okay.
I'll read you the quote. I read this a couple Sundays ago because I was researching Babylon, because that's a big deal in Bible prophecy circles. So in 1961, a guy gave a lecture on this subject. So this is roughly 65 years ago. The lecture was New Babylon at the Technical University. I think this was in the Netherlands. And he said this. So I want you to listen to this think about this in terms of technocracy. We'll talk about this at the beginning of the live stream tomorrow. New Babylon wants to be the environment in which we could live, should live, would want to live if the factors that prevent it are overcome. The design is therefore based on the complete automation of production, on an acommercial, i.e., on a needs-based distribution of foodstuffs and consumer goods, from the comprehensive exploitation of the earth, a total urbanization. By robotizing labor, the population has the free disposal of its time. The interior of the New Babylon is focused on a free and creative way of life.
Wow.
That was 65 years ago. Obviously a technocrat. And you'll see tomorrow, he drew sort of a visualization of what he thought the new Babylon would look like.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I have a video of a new place that they're building that bears a remarkable resemblance to it called Neom. So if we think that this thing, it's like, how many things do you have to see happen before you say, okay, yeah, this is the end time? So this guy was describing a technocratic utopia. We would call it a digital gulag or a digital dystopia.
Or a digital ghetto.
Right. You're going to live in this big city. You'll know nothing and you'll be happy.
Mhm.
And this is the push that everybody wants. Now, let's take that and apply this to the Gaza plan. Throughout the Gaza plan, let me pull it up here just a second so I don't want to misquote what Jared Kushner wrote. So when it says here, Gaza will be governed temporarily by a technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee overseeing public services. And so when you look at the documents that led to this, there's an organization called Abraham Shield that put up those billboards about 2 months ago showing Trump and Netanyahu in the middle, surrounded by 5 kings, 10 kings.
Ooh.
And so I think what you need to kind of look at is this is a possibility, I think, of the birth of this beast empire, this beast system.
The Roman Rite.
Yeah, I think it's Middle Eastern.
Mhm.
I have friends who say it's going to be Europe, and to me, Europe is kind of a nothing burger right at the moment. What was the saying a few years ago? Well, I hope Germany doesn't invade us with their 4 operational tanks. We're really scared of them.
Yeah,
And
big
so
time.
they're trying to turn that around, but this is why I talk about logistics a lot in the end times, because these things have to have a buildup. So we talk about, here's an example. We talk about Ezekiel 38 and 39. And it says a great company and a mighty army. And it identifies the leaders and the allies. And there's differing opinions on who's involved. Clearly, Turkey's involved. That's why I spoke on Turkey at the conference in Rockwall last week. But when there was the war, we talked about the war in Iraq, 1991, the first Iraq war.
Disaster.
Yeah, I mean, we won, okay? But it led to a lot more problems. We didn't really have the definition of victory. But at the time, the United States had the most logistical capability of moving troops, material, supplies, weapons, heavy armor, aircraft, most logistically adept army in human history. And you remember they talked about that Gulf War. It took 6 to 9 months to build up to invade one country in kind of a blitzkrieg, and a country, it was flat terrain. There were no mountains or anything like that. So it was pretty easy pickings. But
Mhm.
it took our army 6 months to get logistically prepared, they thought, to invade Iraq or invade Kuwait and then into Iraq.
Yep.
Now so we need to look at how these things play into the end times, because the armies don't magically appear someplace. Now things are changing because of drones and that type of warfare and that type of thing, and missiles and other types of technology. They're really changing the face of modern warfare quite a bit. There's a huge article in the New York Times today about what China's building up just to invade Taiwan. And that's 85 to 100 miles away. Now, I hear people say that China's going to invade the United States. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But there's like 8,000 miles of ocean between us and them. our West Coast and them.
Yep.
And by the way, you guys in the West Coast, you need to be looking out for them and give us a call if they're coming, if you see them coming.
The Chinese are coming.
I think
The
it's
Chinese are coming.
logistically very difficult to mount a army attack from that far away. Now, again, missile attacks and EMPs and all that stuff can radically change things. But China has been preparing for years to invade 85 miles away. Now, multiply that by 100 times distance, I think it becomes a very difficult thing to do logistically. So my guess is that they attack us, it's going to be missiles and aircraft and that type of thing. I don't see them. I mean, what would it take to transport 2 million men across an ocean that big?
It'll take a lot.
Yeah, and so I to me, I'm not. I probably should be, but I'm not. I'm just not super worried about that. I'm more worried about the other kinds of attacks that they could mount. And the same with Russia. Russia's been plodding along in Ukraine for 3.5 years. Somebody estimated that if they wanted to take over the whole country at the rate they've advanced in Ukraine thus far, it would take them about 100 more years to get to Kyiv. So, I mean, could they do it more quickly? But all these pro-Russian guys, pro-Russian shills were telling us Ukraine-Russia war is over in what? 3 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, a year, 2 years. Now they're on the cusp of doing it. And I don't know. I'm just saying that wars are very difficult things, particularly with modern warfare. And Ukraine's done a pretty good job of beating back the Russian threat, or at least driving it to a stalemate.
Yeah.
So, but then we have to take that knowledge, that information, that data that we've developed from observing these things, and then sort of put that into the Bible prophecies that we see about these wars of the end time. How do they come about? What are the logistics of getting them involved?
There's going to be a whole lot of shifting going on.
Yeah, I mean, it could change. What's the old saying? I think I've quoted this passage from Hemingway quite a bit. I think it's in the book The Sun Also Rises, and two characters are talking about, hey, how did you go bankrupt? And the guy goes, well, 2 ways. First, gradually, then suddenly. And so I think this is how some of these things unfold in Bible prophecy. First, gradually, then suddenly. And it's sort of like, oh, didn't really see that one coming. Well, you just weren't looking in the right place. So anyway, back to this 10 Kings thing with the Abraham Shield, the Abraham Accords. If you look at the translation of one of the posters that they put up, it says to a new Abrahamic covenant, or working towards a new Abrahamic covenant. And that's kind of interesting language that they use, that they pulled that out of the Bible.
Wow.
And these are, a lot of times, these are sometimes atheistic people that are involved in this. So they're going to draw on religious imagery, which really, I think, plays into Bible prophecy. And then there's one more, well, there's a lot of interesting phrases in this. It says, one of the things that will happen in this process is, get this, interfaith dialogue initiatives and U.S.-led political talks will explore a pathway to Palestinian self-determination and statehood. Now, they could have just said, we'll have dialogues to get to this, but what did they use? They used the specific descriptor, interfaith dialogues.
Oh, boy.
And that has this kind of trips all of my ecumenism alarm bells when I see
Have you
this.
seen this one?
Let's see, what's this one say? Yeah, I mean, I think this is a problem. New Apostolic Reformation and sort of the lionizing of Trump. I'm very uncomfortable with this. And so I was just having a discussion with somebody about this today, because there were times when Charlie Kirk spoke in these terms. And so to me, I think there's a line between full-blown New Apostolic Reformation, full-blown Seven Mountain Mandate, and working to make things better. There's kind of a line there. They're not the same thing.
Right.
You can cross over into one from the other, and that's a concern. So, and I asked the person today, is anybody who's in the New Apostolic Reformation camp, are they brothers or sisters in Christ? And just an error in that part. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that question. The nice thing about this is it's not really my responsibility to make the final call on whether someone is or isn't a Christian. A lot of times it's easy, but a lot of times it's pretty difficult. But I think there's a line there then that you move from working politically to make things better, which we all want to do. We don't want. Here's an example right in front of your face there in California, Bill 495.
Yeah.
That these lunatics are trying to put in place, which I think somebody was describing it as the California child trafficking bill.
Yeah, it was the kidnap bill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, and so you want Christian people to be involved to oppose that politically, because your child's life, well-being, mental makeup is at risk. That doesn't save them, but it preserves them so that you can lead them to the Lord, so you can disciple them and that type of thing. So we want people to do that, but I don't think it's fair to say that anybody who works to oppose Bill 495 is part of the New Apostolic Reformation or the
Which
Seven
is not
Mountain
true,
Mandate.
because there's a big separatism with that. So
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But now sometimes those people will be working with you to take down Bill 495. So you have to focus on the task at hand and not get contaminated by that. And I know it's a very tricky thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
And you're seeing that, how tricky that is manifested in the people who are trying to control the narrative of Charlie Kirk's life.
Oh, man.
For their own benefit.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
Man, put it this way, there's some weird things in that movement. Some weird things, John, that it'll take you 10 years to talk about.
Right. So I've tried to kind of stay away from the discussion somewhat.
Yeah.
I think some of the theories are just absolutely crazy.
Oh, man, they want to build the kingdom on earth and then Jesus comes.
Right. But how Charlie died, there's all these people that they have all these crazy theories that require the absolute microsecond coordination of multiple numbers of people. And so I saw there's like a dozen theories about who did this or how it was done.
Oh, man.
All the way from, he's still alive. He escaped through a trap door. And he's living in Israel with his Jewish masters. That's one of the theories.
What?
Yes. And here's the problem. So I'm a lawyer. I've tried many cases. When you're a lawyer, you go into court and you have a part of the trial, if it's a jury trial, is jury selection. And during voir dire, you ask the jury, potential jurors, questions. Now, there's restrictions on what you can and can't ask. A lot of times they fill out pretty extensive surveys ahead of time, depending on the complexity of the case, the length of the case, and that type of thing. But here's the problem. Well, let me back up. I did a talk on postmodernism in 2001 in Anaheim, California. And my point was, we were entering a period of human history where truth was relative. Your truth was as good as anybody else's truth, as long as you believed your truth and they believed your truth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was going to cause chaos. And I noticed around that time that, well, it was a little bit before that. That's why I did the talk. I'm a trial lawyer, so I go to training seminars, how to be a better trial lawyer. And for the first part of my career, all of those seminars were about how to effectively present evidence, how to present the facts in a compelling way, how to use nice PowerPoints or whiteboards, with diagrams on them to explain how money flowed through this particular transaction.
Mm-hmm.
But then the seminars changed, and the seminars became how to appeal to the emotions of people.
Right.
And so what I saw coming 25 years ago is now you're seeing in the Charlie Kirk case, you're seeing this on steroids. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody is sure that their opinion is truth. All of the truths are different. And I said this to somebody today. Somebody's going to go to trial for the murder of Charlie Kirk. You will never get a conviction in today's world.
No.
It's utter chaos. And because you can't get a conviction, now you're on the verge of anarchy in the legal system. And boy, are we ever there. I mean, you're seeing this already in some people that interfere with ICE agents, which is a crime. They go to trial in Washington, D.C., or New York, or someplace in California, and they're found not guilty. Even though they admit that they did what they did. And so now we're on the verge of anarchy.
Right. And the thing of it is that I don't see this getting any better because, I mean, to go back to your digital thing, have you seen this?
Yep, you got the flu.
Good morning, citizens. Your overnight account balances have been updated. Time to start a productive day. Final notice, your account balance is below 500. You need 50 credits by the end of the day to avoid automatic eviction. If you have missed work due to illness, you must provide a doctor's note to reclaim your credits.
Any extra credits? Please.
Tensions are high today, with more people planning to join the Citizens Against Digital Control protest. Remember, the government knows who you are at all times. Resisting is not worth the consequences. All of their newest social credit systems are designed to keep you and your families safe and efficient.
Authorities seized a record balance of an individual's credits, citing excessive hoarding.
Yikes.
Man. Well, I can't say that that's too far away. And they know where you are all the time, it seems like. So it was probably 11 years ago. I was on the 210 freeway coming out of Pasadena, just near the Santa Anita racetrack. And I was involved in one of those 6-car pileups on the 210 during rush hour. I was the 5th car. And my airbag went off, and I had a little SUV. And I'm telling you, have you ever got hit by an airbag?
No, but
I wrestled.
I heard it's painful.
I didn't really. I thought I'd been hit by a truck. It knocked the wind out of me. And so it stunned me. It kind of knocked me out a little bit, and then all of a sudden, my car starts talking to me. I see that your airbag deployed. Are you okay? You're on the freeway in, Santa Anita, California. Do you need a squad to be sent? We've already called the police. I'm like, what's going on? Who are you and why are you talking to me? Because my phone was sitting on the center console and it had flown up under my feet and I couldn't figure out. It's certainly not my phone. I didn't call anybody. What's going on? And so that was 11 years ago. now they track you. They know how fast you drove, the routes you took. They can download all that information out of your rental car.
Mm-hmm.
And so all this social credit stuff, hey, you never drove over 60 miles an hour, we're taking $10 or $15 off of your rental bill because you were a good boy or girl.
Behaviorals.
Yeah. And so this doesn't get rolled back is the point.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow in the Technocracy Roundtable.
Yeah, that should be really interesting.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, look at all the technocrats in Washington. I mean, Larry Ellison, you got to watch out for that guy.
Yeah, so look, I think he's the one who's buying TikTok, is he not?
Yep, he sure did.
Okay. So that immediately then that becomes he's Jewish. So now the Jews are controlling the media. And I mean, it's all over the woke, I call it the third right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so the narrative becomes that the Jews control everything. And it's proof. I mean, Larry Ellison helped buy TikTok, and Benjamin Netanyahu talked about it the other day. And now I saw this morning somebody on the right is saying Benjamin Netanyahu wants to do away with our First Amendment. Now, I've kind of followed these things for a long time. I don't see any evidence of that. So I think it's, but the narrative, you repeat it enough times and it becomes fact or people believe it.
Oh, man, people are easy to be programmed these days, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Benjamin Netanyahu went to the UN last week, and this is the reception he got.
Please, order in the hall.
Diplomats leaving the room.
Yeah, they do that almost every year when Netanyahu speaks. That's been going on for a while, but this sure seemed to be a bigger. The tsunami was moving out to sea when Benjamin Netanyahu got up to speak. So,
please order.
Yeah. By the way, do those gavels ever do anything?
No.
I've had a lot of gavels struck in my presence over the years. I'm not sure that it made me do much of anything, but they're gonna pound on it. Except all the judges that I was in front of,
Oh yeah,
those we would pay attention to. But look, it's very interesting. There's a great writer. Her name is Melanie Phillips. She wrote a book back in, I think, 2006, about 20 years ago.
Okay.
Called Ledonistan, How the Islamic Invasion Was Coming to London. And boy, did that ever turn out to be prophetic.
Yeah, look how London is.
She's just an incredibly bright lady, but she was mentioning the fact that she saw these leftists, these anti-Israel leftists and whatnot, literally digging their fingernails into posters of children that were being held hostage in Gaza. And she said it was like they were trying to remove all their reality could not stand anything that challenged the reality that they wanted to believe or live in.
Right.
And so they're tearing down posters of children who have been kidnapped.
That's wicked.
Right.
Wow.
And some, when they were confronted, said, well, no, they will be future soldiers. So they're actually soldiers now. So it's okay to get rid of them and get rid of any memory or picture of them.
Wow.
So
that's maddening. So did you, I think you played the pop quiz that he did, didn't you?
I don't know if I played or not. Go ahead and play it, though. It's worth looking at.
Let's do something else. So first at the UN. Let's do a pop quiz. And raise your hand if you know the answer. Here's the first question. Who shouts death to America? Is it A, Iran, B, Hamas, C, Hezbollah, D, the Houthis, or E, all of the above? All of the above. Correct. All of the above. Second question. Who has murdered Americans and Europeans in cold blood? Is it A, Al-Qaeda, B, Hamas, C, Hezbollah, D, Iran, or E, all of the above?
All of the above.
Correct. Again. So here's the point I wanted to make. Our enemies hate all of us.
Yep.
With equal venom. They want to drag the modern world back to the past, to a dark age of violence, fanaticism, and terror.
And terror. Wow.
Yeah.
That's the quiz. Yeah, John, I think the anti-Israel sentiment is going to continue to grow. The world is just going to continue to band together.
I don't see it. I mean, today I saw Steve Bannon calling for regime change in Israel. The guy who was concerned that we were being dragged into regime change in Iran now says we should do regime change in Israel. That seems to be a bit hypocritical to me.
Yeah, it's weird how all of these guys they're just like showing their true colors, like major turning right now.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
and this is the guy that was praising Tucker Carlson and Irandis Owens.
Who would have thought that Tucker Carlson, of all people, would sit there and be the #1 advocate against Zionism in America today? Candace Owens. Karima, inshallah, قولوا آمين. Candace Owens. Did you guys see the Ted Cruz interview where Tucker Carlson rips into Ted Cruz and just completely destroys him? Matt Walsh likewise, and there's a huge Marjorie Taylor Greene. Sean King said to me when we were in the car once, he said, Sammy, you don't understand who Marjorie Taylor Greene is. She's the representative of the most racist area in Georgia. African Americans were told not to go to her area. She's now one of the loudest advocates against Zionism. But here's my point about the Ummah when you said that we've done everything we can. Why has that change taken place? Because we've started to deploy a power that we haven't maxed out yet. Trump is looking at Tucker Carlson, who's saying we shouldn't get involved. Candace Owens, we shouldn't get involved. Matt Walsh, we shouldn't get involved. Dave Smith, Trump needs to be impeached if he goes into Iran. So Donald Trump, because of that scream, because of you here in Kuala Lumpur, because of us in London, because of those in Berlin, in Rome, because we actually decided to speak about it, because it became relevant, because we decided to tweet about it, because we decided to because we decided to do da'wah at last instead of sleeping, what happened was Trump instead went to the Iranians and said to them, listen, I need a way out. I'm going to send 2 bombers. They're going to bomb, what did Israel say? These 3 sites. Your scream, your voice, it has power. It shifted an entire U.S. foreign policy. It stopped Trump from intervening in Iran itself. And this is the whole point. When people say, why come to Kuala Lumpur? Why go to these places? It's because the power is not there like you think it is. The power is here, even though I think you guys are here. We are achieving results. They said that when Trump comes to power, it will be disastrous, like for Muslims in America. Mahmoud Khalil, arrested, released. Rumaysat Ostur, arrested, released. Mohsen Mahdawi, arrested, released. American Muslims for Palestine, tried in Michigan, the case was dropped. Tried in Nevada, the case was dropped. They tried to pass the anti-boycott bill, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she pulled it. They tried to do a non-profit killer bill where the Attorney General would have the unilateral right to remove a tax-exempt status. Guess who removed that clause from the bill? Christian churches who said, why is Zionism intervening in terms of how we decide our non-profit? The reality is that people are making an effort and it's working. And you went to America, you've seen those Yemeni cafes. Oh my goodness. These places are packed until 2 a.m. and they're everywhere in America. And Yemeni cafes like it. So I said, guys, how did you succeed? Like, give me the secret. I'd love to see a Muslim, like cafe succeed in the UK in this way. They said, Sammy, when people actually started thinking about where they put their money, the money just flowed, Sammy. We can make big Muslim businesses. We can make big economic powers. The reason they don't exist is not because of the absence of money. It's because we don't take care how we spend. We don't take care where we go.
Wow.
Wow. I didn't know this. My friends used to live down in a little, it's a sort of an incorporated area within Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a giant, I don't know if you have Meijer stores out there. They're kind of like a Walmart, grocery.
What is it, Fred Meyer?
Meijer, Meijer. It's out
okay.
of, I think it's out of Michigan.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of a discount place, and
Mm-hmm.
they have one there, but it was in an area that had gone largely Islamic.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that it was the worst store in the Meijer system in the United States, and there are hundreds of stores, for shrinkage, theft.
Wow.
And so right across the street from that is a Yemeni restaurant. I was just looking at the map here now. There's Yemeni coffee houses all over the place. When we were in London, that whole area that we were in was Turkish, Lebanese, Iraqi. I didn't even know Iraqi had like a recognizable cuisine, because it was a country that really didn't exist till 100 years ago,
Right.
And so I don't know. I'm telling you, it's all over here. It's all over here. And we have a big problem. We have a big Somalian community here. We have giant mosques being built. It's probably worse in Texas. They're really working on taking over Texas. They have madrasas, religious schools they're setting up in suburbs like around the Dallas Cowboys stadium area. There's a big community.
Wow.
They're setting up madrasas. They will educate your kid for free, but your kid has to commit to giving 2 years to being in politics when they graduate. They're playing a long game on this. They're not playing for the 2028 election. They think they're going to be here for a while, and eventually they'll just overwhelm us. It's a big problem.
There are over 2,700 mosques in the United States known to date.
I would say that that's easily the number. I mean, where we used to live over on the northwest side of Columbus, there was a huge mosque, and it was clearly tied to Muslim Brotherhood and terrorism. And it's been there for 20 years. It's huge. And I think they just had they wanted to like double the size of it.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's wow. And I believe that they have a lot of other news stories going out to throw people off of the scent of what's really going on in the country right now.
Yeah, and if you challenge it, you're the bigot.
Yeah. We're known as the racist.
Yeah. Islamophobic.
Yeah. Oh, we're Islamophobe. Yeah, some guy got told that in the city that he lived in Dearborn, Michigan.
Oh yeah, the mayor.
Yeah, and the mayor told him, "Oh, you're an Islamophobe. I'm gonna celebrate when you're out of this city.
I will throw a party when you're pushed out of the city."
Yeah, and I'm like, really? Wow, you're a constitutional mayor, all right.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is where it's come to. What it's come to right now. I just don't. I don't know.
Well, I'm really glad that tonight we were able to talk about a lot of uplifting topics.
Yeah.
We'll drive away. We're trying to get that watching live down to 0. haven't been trying hard enough.
They're like, oh no, these guys are bearers of bad news.
It's Haller again. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Hey, the good news is that there is bad news.
Yeah.
So
that is the good news.
Anyway.
That is the good news. That's
so this deal is, I just think this deal has disaster written all over it. And by the way, if you look at there's a map that Trump put out about the Gaza map, the Trump Gaza map.
Oh no.
The color scheme in that is exactly the same color scheme used in the Trump 2020 vision for peace and prosperity.
Oh no.
About splitting up Israel.
The Abraham Accords?
Yep.
So. Drawn up by Mr. Kushner.
I saw the colors on the map and immediately I said, I've seen those colors before.
Right.
And so that's the map that they're using. Wow. So it's like, I guess he must have it in a file, in a folder on his computer, and he just kind of adds to it from time to time. But
sure
there's a lot of crazy, I mean, there are big, huge PowerPoint presentations. Tony Blair's involved and all this other stuff. So it's definitely moving towards that conclusion. I think this doesn't work out.
Oh, it surely isn't going to work out, and we know that. And I think we know that.
Yeah.
And I think this guy knew a lot too back then.
Going to be over there, going to be an eternity, but they prefer to die as atheists. They prefer to die with a cup in their hand, say, here's to you, God, see you in hell. That's the attitude in the United States today. That's the attitude in New York City. Sure, I'm going to hell, but I don't want God, leave me alone. This city has stuck its nose up at God. Do I believe America is going to be visited with a national revival? Do I believe that the president, the Congress, and that our city governments and state governments, do I believe there's going to be a repentance like Nineveh? No. No, I don't. The more I read of the prophets, the more I read of how God works with nations who sin, the more I'm convinced that only a remnant, there will be remnant churches where the revival will come. But folks, the kind of people God's going to have in the remnant won't need a revival because they won't be dead enough to need one. They're going to be alive by a word of truth that sets them free. They're going to hunger and thirst for righteousness. They're not going to be on the rooftop parties. They're not going to be a part of this easy believism. They're not going to be a part of this candy cotton preaching and this soothing gospel that's going forth. They're going to be anxious for Holy Ghost reproof. They're going to open their hearts like a book and say, oh, God, touch every page of my heart. They're going to be on their knees. They're going to be worshiping the Lord. They're not going to be surprised when the gates open because they know it's instant glory.
Boy, David Wilkerson's had a powerful voice.
Yeah, it did. You know, I've heard people say, you know, what's going to happen when David Wilkerson is gone? He was killed in an accident, as I recall.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when Dave Hunt is gone? He passed away a number of years ago. What happens when Chuck Smith is gone? And I think that was a pretty prescient comment because they're all gone, and I think we have a big problem.
Mm-hmm. A huge problem.
We have some voices like that, but not nearly enough.
No, and it's in a small number,
right?
You know, it's in a very, very small number right now. You know, and I'm just like, wow. and it's only, you know what? And I think it's only happening in churches that have like 200 people or less.
Well, that would be the church I teach at. So I think we're averaging 55. over the past year.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we're an older congregation. It's hard to establish a children's program because they're you're really in competition with churches that have like indoor playgrounds and things like that for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't. And we tell people, if your kid's here and they're 6 or older, they sit in church with you.
Well, you know what? Growing up, that's what we did. I sat in church with my parents.
Well, I did too. And although one time I said, well, and look how I turned out. And somebody said, well, I'm not sure that's a good testimonial for how to raise kids, but it didn't kill me. It won't kill your kid. They might actually learn. So I have a great niece. Her dad's a pastor. They're in church every Sunday. She just started first grade. I'm telling you, this little girl, she's reading, because it's a Presbyterian church and they have a bulletin that's like 20 pages long every Sunday.
Right.
But she's following along in it ever since she's, for the last few years, and she's smart and she's picking up and learning how to read.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to have kids in church and it didn't kill them. So I think that's led to some decline in the church.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Unfortunately, the decline is going to continue. And well, people want to be, how do you say it? They want to be edified and
entertained.
Yeah, they want to be entertained. So they go to Tony Robbins fulfillment centers.
I don't know if you know who Ed Decker is. Ed was a Christian apologist. I think he's still with us. He's probably in his 90s now.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the guys who did the first big expose on Mormonism. So I was with him and some other guys, and we're going to dinner out in Palm Springs where he lives, Palm Desert, and we drove by this big, huge mega church. He said, John, that's the biggest church in the valley. And I went there once, and I have to tell you, it was amazing. And the pastor, he got up and he was really bringing it. Man, he was right. He was really preaching. And then the fog machine malfunctioned. And everything kind of went downhill from there. So
the fog machine malfunctioned. I'm like, hey, that's good news.
Yeah.
Yeah, who wants to cough in a church with all that puffing of smoke around in the room?
Well, sometimes it's kind of a metaphor for what's going on. It's either they say it's to enhance, but maybe it's to hide what's really going on from the people. So, So at Fellowship Bible Chapel, we have no fog machines.
Thank God for that.
We do use PowerPoint, but that's okay.
And maps. So.
And what?
I noticed that you use a lot of maps too.
I use maps. I thought you said a Mac.
No.
But we allow people who use Windows to speak in our church. we don't think you should divide over operating systems.
Yeah. Even though you have to replace those Windows computers really quick.
It does. I went Mac many, many years ago, so my life got a lot easier.
Right.
When I went, because what would happen was, Microsoft was established by a bunch of godless atheists. And so every Sunday I would be teaching and the computer would go into update mode. Right in the middle of my teaching, because they figure, well, nobody's going to be using this on Sunday morning, right?
Wrong.
Yeah. So I said, okay, I'm going to Mac, and I haven't been interrupted by an update ever since. I'm not saying that the people at Apple are more God-fearing, but I'm just saying it's made my life easier.
Yeah, and actually the computer will ask you if you would like an update and when.
Right. Do you want to schedule this for tonight? Do you want to do it now? And then Microsoft just did these automatic updates like at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Yeah, what made me go to a Mac is when I was doing a live broadcast and all of a sudden this update starts kicking in, and all of a sudden the computer crashes twice.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, no, I can't do this anymore. It is time to go Mac.
And about every 15 months, even if everything went well, you would have to completely rebuild the computer and reinstall everything.
Yeah.
I've never had to do that with a Mac.
And then when I called the number for technical support with the Windows computer, oh, my good friend, I cannot help you. Oh, your computer is outdated. You need a new one. Oh, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
That was a big help.
Well, crazy time to be alive, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, John, tomorrow you're going to have an interesting broadcast at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I'm going to do our technology, technocracy, transhumanism, AI, Mark of the Beast system, technology update or roundtable. Patrick Wood, Scott Townsend, Britt Gillette, Pete Garcia, and myself. And we try to keep that to like 2.5 hours, but it's really hard.
It's really hard when you go over 3.
Yeah, I mean, people seem to be enjoying it or getting some. We just want to give people good information, and I think the space is such an incredibly busy space. Aside from the whole Israel thing, which is always central, this technology thing is very big. It's intrusive. In fact, there was a major headline in the Columbus. I don't read the Columbus paper except to take a quick look at it from time to time. But the headline this morning was Meta expanding Ohio campus.
Uh-oh.
And they're setting up they're setting up a thing called Prometheus, a gigawatt supercluster expected to come online next year. And they're saying it will be the world's highest capacity data center. About 15 minutes from my house. Boy, so I hope they don't chew up all the bandwidth on the internet. But yeah, that's being built out in New Albany, Ohio.
Wow.
And there's 6 buildings out there right now. And they're this is like their leading superintelligence laboratory that they're building.
Yeah,
there.
And they also have a data center going in Tennessee also as well.
They do. Yeah, this one's called Hyperion, able to scale up to 5 gigawatts over several years. I mean, I've seen one. There was one, I forget who's building it up in outside of South Bend, Indiana. And these buildings are huge. They're usually 1,200 to 1,300 feet long, about 6 stories high. And so they're like the Empire State Building laying on its side in a field.
With a very high level of security.
Right. Oh, yeah. You drive around. I drove around just to take some pictures once, and all of a sudden there were 3 cars out by the entrance taking pictures of me, taking pictures of them. And highly secure, triple redundant backup generators, cooling towers like you wouldn't believe. They're stressing our water and power grid around here. But up in South Bend, Indiana, they have 8 of these buildings on an old farm. And they're going to put in 22 more buildings at this one data center outside of South Bend.
Wow, that's a lot.
Right. You're talking millions and millions of square feet. They're putting all these chips and everything in them. They're just racks of computers. I ran into a guy who was helping. They were refurbishing the Meta buildings because they were 2.5 years old, so they're already out of date. So they're redoing all of the electronics in them. And I said, "Well, how much can an electrician make?" He goes, "Well, you have to be certified. You have to have your apprenticeship done." And this was, and I said, "Well, how much do they make?" And he goes, I can get you in if you're certified $69 an hour.
Mm.
And if you want to work 100 hours of time and a half every week, that's fine. So we have guys come up, they come up from the South, they rent apartments, and they make like $180,000 to $200,000, and they go back south for the winter.
Wow.
And he said, I can't find enough people to do what I need.
Wow, that's incredible.
And by the way, Facebook is free, you know, because they're selling your stuff.
Yep, they're selling your info. I know they sell all of our info. It's terrible. Just terrible. Just terrible. Well, John, I want to be respectful of your time, my brother. Because I know you got a long show tomorrow, and I want you to have the energy for that.
Huh.
Yeah. Because that's going to be an interesting conversation, especially with Patrick Wood involved.
Yep.
You know, that guy is just a wizard when it comes to this technology stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's been studying it a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, one of these days, I'm just gonna have to. I even told him when I had seen him at the Arizona conference this past June. I said, "Man, I'm gonna have to sit down with you and pick your brain one day because there's some stuff that I just I just want to know about." And I wrote down my list of questions for him too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, John, would you please do us the honor and just pray us out, my friend?
Sure. Lord, we do appreciate the blessing that you've given us to live at this time. Just like you said to the first disciples, that the prophets long to live at this time. And I'm sure Jesus would say the same thing to us today, that we should be blessed to live at this time when we can see these things unfold with the light of Scripture in front of us. But I pray that you will just steal our minds and hearts, fill us with your Holy Spirit, and give us opportunities to share the gospel with those around us. And we just pray that you bless Vinny and his show and the message that's conveyed there. We pray that it will edify, build up, and lead people to the Lord, all to your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen and amen. And don't forget, guys, tomorrow, Lee W. Brainerd. Man, and he is a brain. I got to tell you guys. That guy is such a genius. It's awesome.
I think I'm doing something on Kurt Reed on Thursday. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, Pookie just texted me. He said John is on with Kurt Reed. Huh.
Right, but I think Olivier or Lee Brainerd is going to be on there too. We're having a little panel. That's Thursday afternoon at 3:00 Eastern, I believe.
Yeah, which is noon my time. So that's perfect.
Right.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah,
so
you can listen while you're at In and Out or whatever.
Yeah. or if I'm barbecuing a steak or something.
Ooh. By the way, I will say this. Been to Texas a couple times this year, and there's a place called Terry Black's. I don't get any money for this, but if they want to give me free brisket for life, I will take that.
Ooh.
It is the most amazing barbecue brisket I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
And I love brisket too.
It's like butter that tastes like beef, or I don't know how to describe it. Man, it is just an experience.
Or butter beef.
It's unbelievable. It's so buttery and juicy and beefy, and they use a simple rub on it of some kind. It's unbelievable. So I had some in Dallas last Sunday on my way to the airport.
Oh, wow.
But we went over to somebody's house for dinner during the conference, and they had brisket as well, and it was right up there.
Oh, man. I mean, you're talking Tom's language, too, when you talk about brisket.
Yeah. I'm just telling you, my nephew lives in Austin. He took us down to Terry Black's. It was Good Friday. Place was packed. And I'm telling you, man, I kept thinking as little girls, twin girls that are 6, they're like the luckiest little kids in the world that their dad brings them to Terry Black's at a young age.
Oh,
anyway.
man, brisket and golf.
Anyway, Vinny, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for coming on, John. I really appreciate your time. And don't forget also, friends, we'll be broadcasting live from Rock Harbor Church this Saturday. It's going to be interesting.
There's a conference, isn't there?
Yes. Steve Dace from The Blaze, Brandon Holhouse, Tom Hughes. It's going to be an interesting weekend. So in Bakersfield, California. So
you're going to be up there?
Yes, sir.
So there's this kind of modernish, 50-ish ice cream place.
Okay.
In Bakersfield. Ask Brandon where it is. He took us over there.
Oh, wow.
It was phenomenal. So when we were traveling in April, May, I did a 2-hour thing with Brandon at the church on Wednesday night. So
I watched that.
Yeah. So he took us out to the ice cream place afterwards. It was, I had sort of put me in a chocolate malt coma. So I slept well that night.
And the next time you come to California, you got to go to this place in Lake Arrowhead. It's called the Malt Shop.
Okay.
And it's kind of like that 50s, 60s style type place. They name their food after different types of cars in the 50s and 60s. Yeah.
So like the pink Cadillac would be like a strawberry shake or something.
Yeah. And I think they had like a Roadster burger, and it was huge. Yeah.
Well, if you ever come to Ohio, we have one. We'll take you down to the Thurman Cafe, and they have a burger there. It's called the Terminator.
Ooh.
It's like, I think it's 2.5 pounds. And that's before they put like brisket and stuff on and cheese on top of it.
Oh.
The Terminator.
The Terminator.
If you want the 1.5 pound one, it's called the Son of Terminator.
The Son of Terminator. I think I'll get the Terminator. Probably have leftovers the next day.
Well, we better get out of here before we make people so hungry they're gnawing off their arms.
Yeah. God bless you guys. Take care of each other. We will see you tomorrow.
Follow us on all of the socials at VinDog Radio. We'll be right back with more VinDog Radio Live after this.
Yes, sir! Hey, everybody. I have some exciting news to share with you. Here at Rock Harbor, we are going to be hosting a prophecy conference on October 4th. It's a Saturday, and it's going to be right here in Bakersfield at Rock Harbor Church. And we're going to have a prophecy conference about the apostasy of the church. But we're not only going to talk about what's going on in a negative way in the church and how the church is losing its grip with the culture and not contending for the faith. We're going to talk about ways in which we as individual Christians can re-engage in the fight and battle through what's happening not only in the West but around the world. And so we're going to have a great cast of speakers, some top-notch guys that I have lined up, and they're going to have a one-day shot of not only exposing what's going on, but equipping us in, okay, what can I do to be salt and light? How can I go about confronting this that I see in my churches, that I see in my community, that the church is not doing and the pastors are not doing? We are having a leadership deficit. And so we hope from this conference to encourage many people at the grassroots level to take ownership and say, hey, look, will you be able to take out the truth and contend for the faith, be salt and light, because the churches are not doing it anymore. The pastors are not doing it anymore. So it comes down to our responsibility. And so that's what we're geared up for. And it's going to be great. You're going to be blessed, and you're going to walk away fully equipped to be able to handle this culture. And so hopefully mark down your calendars that hopefully you can attend in person, but if not, we'll have a live stream for for anyone that can't make it. And it will, either way, it'll be a blessing for you. So mark the date, October 4th. It's a Saturday here in Bakersfield, California at Rock Harbor Church. Hope to see you then.
Vindog Radio.